Year one under Billy Napier got off to a hot start with a win over defending Pac-12 champs Utah, but things got a little rocky after that, ending with a tough bowl loss to Oregon State and the worst win percentage by a first-year Florida coach since 1979. So that's the bad. Let me introduce you to the good here. Jacob Rudner from Swamp 24/7 is here to talk about the future. We're turning the page. Year two under Billy Napier. How are things going so far?
I think a lot better. I think that the focus has always been recruiting in these first couple years for Billy Napier. That much wasn't really a secret. This was kind of one of those, it's a team that needed work immediately, and Billy Napier did not shy away from that. They lost a massive percentage of their roster between last season and this season, and they're kind of in that phase right now where it's about putting together what's going to look best maybe 2-3 years down the line. And I don't necessarily think that this is a win now team so much as it is build out for beyond 2023 into 24 and even 25. And they're doing that pretty successfully. Yeah,
so far so good. Third ranked recruiting class in the 2024 cycle with still in play for a lot of big commitments in that cycle. What has been the key to success for Napier on the trail?
I think they just really know how to sell the program. This is a staff that is super relatable. With the guys that they're trying to bring in on both sides of the ball, they have several 5-stars already in the class. Jamonte Waller is somebody who really stands out, and it speaks to Sean Chaos's recruiting. Just a guy who really knows how to relate again, and they do such a good job of making guys feel at home. They're showing players, this is why we think you're going to make an impact at Florida, and they're doing something to make them believe that, which is really what I think is the separator between maybe what Florida had in its previous staff and what it has now.
A lot to look forward to in the future, but they do have to play a season in 2023. So let's talk about the here and now. You're in the post-Anthony Richardson era when it comes to the quarterback position. Looks like Graham Mertz is the guy, but what's happening with that position group right now as we get through the spring and now into summer?
Yeah, Billy Napier has said now on several occasions that he doesn't want to name a starter until it really comes time to have to, right before the season starts. And he says that it will be a battle. He will never award a newcomer the starting job right out the gate. So we don't know for sure that Graham Mertz is going to be the starter, but I think we can safely assume that that's what's going to happen. And this is a guy who's going to really need to be able to step up. We have not seen consistent success from Mertz throughout his college career. There have been flashes of really strong play. His game against Illinois when he threw for 5 touchdowns immediately comes to mind. Whether or not he can replicate that in the SEC, I think is the biggest question, though. Is this going to be a guy who's going to sink when the competition gets a lot stronger, or will he be able to swim? He'll be able to lean on the run game, though, and I think that that's what's going to be really important. Is Mertz going to, integrate what's allowed him to be a successful passer in? I don't know. We're going to find out. And the weapons around him are somewhat questionable as well, but he does have the run game. He is kind of sneaky athletic. So I think that this is a guy who's going to potentially be adequate, maybe not mind-blowing, but certainly able to get the job done.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question is what does he have around him to help with that transition? Florida's offensive line was sneaky spectacular last season. What does he have in terms of protection to help him succeed in this new role?
Yeah, like I said, it's those running backs that immediately come to mind. Trevor Etienne, Montrell Johnson, guys who should receive some All-SEC preseason recognition, I think. Just some really talented backs. They are exceptionally talented. They're quick. They kind of complement each other in a really nice way. Montrell Johnson, more of a bruiser, whereas Trevor Etienne is a little bit more of that quick, shifty running back type who's able to kind of find room and space and make guys miss. They put together a really good showing last year, again, behind that great offensive line. Anthony Richardson went a long way in kind of helping that because of how athletic he is. And that's kind of my big question this year is with Mertz, who's not so much of a threat to go. What do these running backs do? Still, I think they're extremely talented. Ricky Pearsall, the wide receiver, returns a great player in the slot, and I think that the tight end position is really the biggest question for me. But this is an offense that has the tools, I think, to be okay, if not maybe slightly above that.
I love it. How about the other side of the ball? We've got a new defensive coordinator, a young guy, Austin Armstrong. What should we expect from the defense this year?
I think a big step up. This is a group that has a lot of talent that's been infused into it, really from the transfer portal. Cam Jackson, Caleb Banks, the defensive lineman, come to mind. RJ Moten, a safety from Michigan, is also very talented. But Austin Armstrong really makes the difference to me. This is an energetic, young coach who's really going to make a difference, I think, in the way that he motivates his players to get after the ball. We haven't really seen that level of aggression from a Florida defense in recent years, and I think that he kind of brings the change of pace that a lot of returning players were looking to see from their new coordinator. And we saw that in the spring game. They only allowed 2 total touchdowns, really positive showing, and I think that that's going to kind of lead into a big step up this year for the Florida defense.
All right, looking forward to seeing both of those things come together. Vegas is putting the over-under at 5.5, but where is Jacob leaning?
It's over 5.5. I think that 5.5 is a little bit of a slight. I think that it's slightly low. I would say 7 is the number that I'm looking at. I think Florida has the capability to be over 500, play in a bowl game for an 8th win, and that would be a pretty respectable season if they can do that. Is it going to be a mind-blowing season? Again, no, I don't think so. But I think over 5.5 is a pretty safe bet.
Yeah, you see the schedule right there. The first game heading to Utah is definitely going to be a tough one, but we saw it was difficult for the Utes headed down to the Swamp, so that's what you get with the home and homes. Jacob, thank you so much for this. Be sure to check out all of his work and everyone at Swamp 24/7. They get you covered for all things Florida. You got football, recruiting, everything. They're your headquarters, so be sure to check out Swamp 24/7.